Are most of the kids in favor of the picketing?
Yep.
How come?
I think they should get a better education too, and I think they should get some more money.
The first thing I did is of course, I went into self and I taught myself music.
Prince was not scared of nobody.
No, he'll fight.
Yeah, he will fight you.
Sauntering confidently down the school corridor, Prince, with his towering platform shoes, voluminous afro, and a stylish choker adorning his neck, stood out amidst the crowd of his suburban high school. Despite his petite frame and tumultuous upbringing, his eccentric fashion sense was his ticket to garnering attention. Already displaying musical prowess, Prince's flamboyant attire served as his unique calling card. Little did anyone know that this teenager, destined for greatness, would later amass over 100 million record sales, clinch 7 Grammys, a Golden Globe, and an Oscar. Yet beneath the glitz and glamour lay the shadows of a troubled childhood, shaping the enigmatic persona of the iconic artist.
He put aluminum up against all the walls and the windows because he likes everything very, very dark. That's probably the reason why he is called the Prince of Darkness.
Before delving into Prince's later religious beliefs, it's worth tracing back to his early years where the seeds of his complex persona were sown. At the tender age of 12, Prince Rogers Nelson found himself at odds with authority after being expelled for a daring act of adolescent rebellion, having a girl in his bed. Born in Minneapolis during the late 50s, Prince's roots were firmly planted in the heart of the Midwest, a region that both shaped and haunted him with echoes of his tumultuous upbringing. His father, John Nelson, a descendant of sharecroppers and slaves, migrated from Louisiana to Minnesota following a divorce seeking a fresh start. By day, he toiled as a plastic molder at Honeywell Electronics, but by night, he transformed into a skilled jazz musician, gracing the stages of the city's vibrant jazz clubs and blues bars with his musical prowess.
So when he left, I was determined to get as good as him. And I taught myself how to play music, and I just stuck with it, and I did it all the time.
At the tender age of 5, Prince was thrust into the enchanting world of music when he witnessed his father's nightclub performance. As the house lights dimmed, the curtains parted, and a solitary spotlight illuminated John Nelson at the piano, the young Prince found himself spellbound. With each graceful movement of the scantily clad chorus girls and each mesmerizing note from his father's piano, Prince's fascination with the transformative power of music intensified.
My father left his piano at the house when he left, and I wasn't allowed to play it when he was there because I wasn't as good as him. So when he left, I was determined to get as good as him.
Enthralled by the allure of the stage and the adoration of the audience, Prince's childhood dreams became infused with the rhythms and melodies of his father's performances. Fueled by this passion, he immersed himself in music, spending countless hours at the piano during his father's absence and experimenting with other instruments in the aisles of department stores. This early immersion in music, as described by author Alex Hahn in Possess, The Rise and Fall of Prince, became more than just a hobby for the young prodigy. It evolved into a lifeline, a means of escaping the complexities of the world and finding solace in the harmonies and melodies that danced through his mind.
Musicians, pretty much, you just tell them what key to go into, and it just fall right into the language. It's a language we all speak.
From a tender age, Prince was ensnared in a web of contradictions, a product of his tumultuous upbringing and the harsh realities of his environment. The bitter dissolution of his parents' relationship when he was just 2 years old left an indelible mark on his psyche. Faced with the specter of domestic violence inflicted by his father and the relentless taunting from peers due to his diminutive stature, Prince sought safety in his own solitary realm within the heartland of the Midwest, the land of Minnesota's iconic 10,000 Lakes, a place often associated with conservative values and homogeneity.
Well, people are all the same, deep down, and once you get to know somebody, you can always find some sort of commonality.
Alex Hahn, in his reflections on Prince's unlikely origins, marvels at the paradox of this setting giving rise to a figure as enigmatic and transformative as the young musician. Against the backdrop of a landscape seemingly at odds with his own identity, Prince emerged as a tormented yet visionary force in the world of pop music, a meteoric talent whose rise to fame would rival even the likes of Michael Jackson and Madonna. Despite his profound connection to Minneapolis, Prince harbored a sense of protectionism towards his hometown, famously quipping, "I will always live in Minneapolis. It's so cold, it keeps the bad people out." However, even within the confines of his hermetic and private universe, the insidious influence of Dealers found a way to infiltrate, casting a shadow over his idyllic facade, and further complicating his already turbulent journey. Prince's familial backdrop was steeped in the rich melodies of jazz, with his mother Mattie Shaw, herself a gifted jazz singer hailing from Louisiana. Possessing a voice reminiscent of the legendary Billie Holiday, Mattie's talent found a natural home within Nelson's musical ensemble, the Prince Rogers Trio. It was within the harmonious rhythms of their shared passion that love blossomed between Mattie and John, culminating in their union in 1957. Despite a significant age gap of 16 years, their bond was cemented by mutual affection and a shared dream for their son. In a poignant reflection on his aspirations for his newborn son, John Nelson, also known by his stage name Prince Rogers, expressed a heartfelt sentiment in '91. Quote, "I wanted him to do everything I wanted to do." Thus, the namesake Prince was bestowed upon the infant, symbolizing not only his father's stage persona, but also the embodiment of his own unfulfilled dreams and aspirations. In this act of naming, a legacy was passed down, weaving together the threads of familial love and musical ambition that would shape the destiny of the young prodigy.
I named him Prince because I want him to do everything that I really intended to do.
Has he done that?
He's done all of it.
Within the intimate confines of their family, Mattie's endearing nickname for her husband, Prince, became a tender token of affection that extended to their son. Dubbed Skipper by his doting mother, the young boy embraced this moniker with fervor, asserting his presence over his given name. To him, Skipper became more than just a nickname. It was a badge of identity, a declaration of independence against the weight of familial expectations. Raised in the devout tradition of Seventh-day Adventism, Prince's upbringing was steeped in the teachings of Christianity. Despite his attendance at Bible study classes and exposure to religious doctrine, Prince found himself drawn more to the soul-stirring melodies of the choir than to the rigid structures of organized religion. In his own words, he confessed to deriving greater spiritual nourishment from the harmonies that reverberated through the sanctuary than from the dogma preached from the pulpit.
I believe in God. There's only one God, and I believe in the afterworld.
Yet the essence of Christianity left an indelible imprint on Prince's worldview. He internalized the notion of an omnipotent God. In his school days, he excelled in sports, displaying remarkable competitiveness in ping pong and basketball despite his modest stature, reaching a height of only 5'2" when fully grown. Enduring bullying from his peers by the age of 10, he shed his shy introversion, revealing a lively and outgoing personality among friends.
When we walk across that street to John Hay where the basketball hoops were, that's where he raised hell.
Taking cues from his impeccable father, who stood at a mere 5'4", Prince adopted a style that was both sharply dressed and conservative, aiming to both impress and shock, a trait he inherited from his half-brother Alfred Nelson. Alfred, born from his mother's first marriage, was musically gifted, often belting out tunes from James Brown records while sporting a wild hairstyle reminiscent of Little Richard's signature look. Among his friends, he earned a reputation akin to that of a pimp. Late at night, when the world slept, Prince would slip into his room, donning Alfred's flamboyant attire and immersing himself in the rhythms of James Brown's records. According to Prince's second cousin Charles Smith, Alfred's path led him to a mental institution in Minneapolis. The once harmonious relationship between Shaw and Prince's father spiraled into tumultuous screaming matches, culminating in Nelson's departure, leaving behind his beloved piano. Witnessing these confrontations took a toll on the young boy, leaving him longing for his father's presence. With Mattie's remarriage came a new stepfather, emotionally distant and remote.
Ego is one thing, and money is one thing, but reverence for life and service to others is the key to getting off this planet.
At the tender age of 12, Prince sought solace with his father, only for their reunion to abruptly end when Nelson discovered his son in the company of a girl in his bed. Despite Prince's pleas, his father's response was an unequivocal no. Quote, "I sat crying at the phone booth for 2 hours. He told Rolling Stone in a 1985 interview, "That's the last time I cried." Prince and Nelson's relationship oscillated between affection and estrangement until Nelson died in 2001. He confessed to Oprah in '96 that his father had been abusive. He whispers, quote, "Don't abuse children or else they'll turn out like me" in his song Papa. After his father's rejection, Prince drifted between the homes of relatives and friends until he finally found sanctuary at the residence of his close friend Andre. Despite already caring for 6 children of her own, Bernadette Anderson opened her heart and home to the boy, providing him with love and stability throughout his formative years. It was within this nurturing environment that Prince realized the importance of having his own personal space. Opting for the basement, he claimed the piano as his domain, granting him the autonomy to orchestrate his own universe without the clutter and chaos of sharing a bedroom with the messy Andre. The dimly lit basement became Prince's sanctuary despite its lack of natural light. It would serve as the blueprint for the secluded recording studios where he would spend the next 3 decades of his life. Functioning as both a bedroom and a rehearsal space, the basement also doubled as a hedonistic playground where Prince and Anderson indulged in various carnal pleasures with their respective partners.
In his room that I gave him, he put aluminum up against all the walls and the windows, so not one piece of light, not any light could show.
Coming of age in the liberating atmosphere of the 1960s, Prince embraced the ethos of make love, not war, eagerly exploring his newfound freedom by pursuing diverse experiences and pleasures. However, his escapades did not escape the watchful eye of Miss Anderson. When she caught him with a girl in the basement after skipping school, his friend Pepe Willie recounted how she swiftly administered discipline. In the confines of that basement, Prince immersed himself in the soulful sounds of Minneapolis's lone R&B radio station KUXL, which continued to broadcast until sundown, offering a stark contrast to the predominantly white musical landscape of the city. While Minneapolis had once boasted a vibrant jazz and blues scene during the 1950s and 1960s, those days had faded into memory, leaving Chicago as the primary destination for round-the-clock immersion in black music. From the eclectic mix of sounds emanating from the radio waves, Prince found inspiration in artists ranging from Sly Stone, whose voice he sought to emulate, to icons like James Brown, Stevie Wonder, Joni Mitchell, Fleetwood Mac, and Santana.
I use Stevie Wonder as an inspiration, whom I look up to a great deal, just for the way that he crafted music and his connection.
Pooling their musical talents, Prince, Andre Anderson, and Charles Smith united to form a band they dubbed Grand Central. They enlisted the percussion skills of neighbor Terry Jackson, whose basement offered a more hospitable rehearsal space than Anderson's dank abode. Their rehearsals would often migrate to Jason's basement when Bernadette Anderson grew weary of the constant musical cacophony. Prince's unwavering dedication to songwriting and musical performance, coupled with his aversion to drinking and breaks, led to a pattern where he assumed control of recording all the musical components himself, sometimes overshadowing the contributions of his bandmates. Years later, when Prince inked a 3-album deal with Warner Bros. On June 25, 1977, executives Mo Austin and Lenny Waronker recognized the unparalleled talent they had acquired, labeling him a once-in-a-generation phenomenon. However, amidst his passion and ambition, there lurked a darker side stemming from Prince's struggles with the pressures imposed by music executives and the constraints of a recording label.
You know, with a guy like him, man, you gotta understand he's iconic in my mind, you know.
In the music realm, Prince was a true trailblazer and sometimes a controversial champion for artists' rights. In the 1990s, he openly clashed with the music industry, making bold statements like inscribing slave on his cheek and adopting an unpronounceable glyph as his name, all to voice his frustration with the major label system. He bluntly stated, quote, "Record contracts are just like, I'm gonna say the word, slavery. I would tell any young artist, don't sign." Furthermore, in a 1996 interview with the Los Angeles Times, Prince expressed such a strong distaste for the music business that he admitted he wished he had pursued a different career altogether, declaring, "If I knew the things I know now before, I wouldn't be in the music industry." Prince straight up spilled the tea around the shady side of Hollywood in one of his interviews back in the day.
Once I started writing Slave on my face, I pretty much knew the outcome. I mean, you have to understand that that word on one's face pretty much changes the dynamic of any meeting.
And now we're seeing the fallout from some sketchy stuff going on in the entertainment biz. Prince's revelations about Hollywood took a darker turn when he sadly passed away in an elevator. The circumstances surrounding his death in that elevator were especially eerie, as noted by Dave Chappelle. According to Chappelle, Prince was always upfront and expressed his views boldly, making him difficult to control. Looking at it from the outside, it appears that someone hard to rein in was taken out of the picture.
That he paid that kind of attention. And I think about that when I engage people, how these moments are just moments, but they mean so much.
The comedian memorably explained on Friday to Tonight Show host Jimmy Fallon what it's like being featured on the cover of Prince's September 2013 single Breakfast Can Wait. That's a Prince judo move right there. You make fun of Prince in a sketch and he'll just use you in his album cover, the comedian quipped. What am I going to do? Sue him for using a picture of me dressed up like him? That's checkmate right there. When Dave Chappelle was facing a huge life change in 2006, it was the wide words of his friend Prince that convinced the comedian he wasn't crazy. The comic had decided to quit Chappelle's show after 2 complete seasons, reporting that its success was ruining his life and causing him stress. The conditions under which he left the production, which struggled on without him for several episodes, left his future career in doubt, but he felt he had no choice. In one of his interviews featured in the liner notes of the Sign of the Times box set, Dave Chappelle shared a profound connection with Prince during a pivotal moment in his life. Reflecting on his departure from Chappelle's show, Chappelle revealed that Prince was not only someone he could relate to, but also one of the few individuals genuinely concerned about his life. Chappelle also reminisced about the first time he heard Prince's single Sign of the Times on a radio show hosted by Casey Kasem. Struck by Kasem reading the lyrics before playing the record, Chappelle was deeply impressed, noting the profound nature of the words and highlighting the rarity of a DJ reading lyrics on a top 40 countdown. Furthermore, according to ET, L.A. Reid also revealed that Prince shared a strong aversion to elevators. Prince believed that elevators had a sinister nature, often labeling them as instruments of the devil. This unique perspective on elevators was captured in Prince's 1984 song Let's Go Crazy. In the lyrics, he portrayed elevators as malevolent forces that could try to bring someone down. Prince sang about the challenge of rising above by pressing a higher floor button, symbolizing his resistance against the negative influence he linked with elevators. He expressed in the lyrics, quote, "And if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy, punch a higher floor. If you don't like the world you're living in, take a look around you, at least you got friends. You see, I called my old lady for a friendly word, she picked up the phone, dropped it on the floor, is all I heard. Are we gonna let the elevator bring us down? Oh no, let's go." Reid shared a conversation he had with Prince about the artist's unusual feelings towards elevators, a topic that made Reid uneasy due to its association with the devil. This discomfort stemmed from Prince explaining that, in his view, the elevator symbolized the devil. The news of Prince's lifeless discovery in an elevator on the first floor of Paisley Park, his residence and studio, deeply disturbed Reid, given the context of their prior discussion, which was what triggered the public because they think it might connect to him being outspoken against the industry. Prince's versatility as an artist extended beyond his music and encompassed his image, where he attained the status of a S symbol by embracing an androgynous identity, challenging traditional gender norms and breaking free from racial stereotypes. His bands frequently included talented female members, and he consistently championed women within the music industry throughout his illustrious career. However, his dedication to women's empowerment also generated a range of rumors and speculations, ultimately contributing to his growing disillusionment with the industry.
It's cool to get on the computer, but don't let the computer get on you.
However, many people believe all this pressure by the industry may have led him to the D's, which ultimately caused his death because, according to TMZ, he was found to be overdosed at the time of his death. However, the massive public was always on Prince's side, and they never seemed to be lingered by Sinead's narrative. One of his fans wrote, quote, "The industry has been K-off artists for a long time now. MJ, Prince, Whitney, etc. When you no longer want to play by their rules, this is your end, or they will destroy you in front of millions. This industry is very evil." Another fan wrote, quote, "It's heartbreaking to think of such an icon being in a position of helplessness, knowing they were coming for him. And everyone around him was wicked. Soon as he got ownership back from his music, they K'd him." It seems evident that Prince did not dwell much on the intricacies of the material world or what would unfold after his transcendence. Perhaps he harbored a profound assurance that his legacy was securely cemented through his life's achievements, and he was at peace, entrusting the course of events to fate as he ventured into the great unknown.